the country's road network has been improving in the past 2 years. As you have seen, roads being rehabilitated all over. Wherever you go, you get to see some works being done. Detours have become a common feature as you travel time and again. And of course, that is the work of the Second Republic as they target to ensure all roads are very much maintained and also rehabilitated, especially those that are linking the capital city and our borders. And we've seen that being done. Yes, today on our Face the Nation, we do have the men responsible for that, leading the ministry, responsible for road and infrastructure development. Good evening and thank you so much for joining us. My name is Ian Wambe and this is our Face the Nation. Like I said, today our guest is none other than Minister Felix Mhona. Honourable, good evening and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. Good evening. Yeah.
We start by giving you your flowers. You have done tremendously well in terms of road rehabilitation. We have seen the work being done. We have seen what you're doing in terms of these roads being rehabilitated. Can you just maybe talk us through the mantra for the Second Republic in as far as the road rehabilitation is concerned?
Thank you so much, Ian. And actually do brag to be part of the Second Republic. And in particular, you know, being led by a man of wise counsel, His Excellency Comrade Dr. Mnangagwa,
right,
our visionary leader. And Ian, maybe to just quote that deep rivers move in majestic silence. This is the man that I'm talking about, Comrade Dr. Mnangagwa. The vast knowledge that he has, which actually makes it easier for the ministry to perform. Because basically there's a radar. Us as the ministry, we're a conduit pipe. We just have to follow in his footsteps and fulfill his vision. And precisely that's why we enjoy working under the Ministry of Transport and Infrastructural Development.
You have done well, like I said. We have seen the roads being rehabilitated. Maybe just for us to understand on a broader picture, your 5-year plan in terms of your ministry, the road networks, what is the plan at the ministry?
Thank you so much, Ian. And it's quite exciting that, you know, after the August elections that we had last year, the fact that I was also reappointed to the same ministry, to the same portfolio.
Right.
To me, I said, thank God, because I now have the roads, the road network on my fingertips. And we are saying as a nation, we've got a 90,000 kilometer road network. And we talk of urban roads, we talk of rural roads, and some of us, we come from rural constituencies. So at the end of the day, the Grand Master then said, now we need to make sure that no one is left behind. And what we are doing as a ministry, we will start with our cities, we also gravitate towards our rural constituencies so that we cover the entire nation. And it is now in our strategic plan that we now need to make sure that the roads that were neglected for years are now managed in a manner that would enable economy to move. And precisely this is what we are doing. So you'll see us now saying that we have trunk roads, which were under the purview of the Ministry of Transport. But alas, now we are saying we also have roads that are under the purview of the local authorities. But we've seen that for the past 24 years, roads were neglected in cities. And now we need to descend to administer and make sure that we rehabilitate those roads. So as a ministry, this is what we are doing. And we are enjoying the work. Because at the end of the day, when we talk of Zimbabwe, it is us. And his mantra, that Nyika inova kwaniwe nohayo, Comrade Dr. Mnangagwa, is what we are doing. And once again, to the people of Zimbabwe, that my humble plea, we cannot attend to each road at same given time, but we need to make sure that whatever we plan, we accomplish.
Honourable, you say leaving no one and no place behind in terms of the development that is happening. People in the ghetto, the roads they are seeing, to them they just say the government is not taking care of us. We are not seeing our roads being rehabilitated. What is the narrative? I understand the council is much responsible, but your ministry is the overall parent, if I say. What therefore becomes the narrative for those within the ghettos where roads have hardly been maintained, have hardly been rehabilitated? Some of them, you can even tell, Pampane Road, Apana, merely dust roads as we speak. What's the narrative there?
You are very right, Ian. Like maybe I need to give a background of the architecture of the ministry, where we are saying we have Department of Roads, which is under the Ministry of Transport. We also have REDA, that you used to know as DDF.
DDF, yes.
We have got local authorities, those are city authorities. And we've got rural district councils. Those are 4 major road authorities. So the Minister of Transport was mandated to look and administer trunk roads. By trunk roads, we actually say the connecting roads to our neighboring countries. And this was our major task, to make sure that we rehabilitate, maintain those roads. And the mandate to take charge of the roads in the communities, in our townships, it was under local authorities. But it wasn't being done. And in some cases where Zinara would disburse funds, and then at the end of the day, that fund would then be earmarked towards something else which is not intended for that particular project. And we've seen that again with the declaration of Emergency Road Rehabilitation Program 2, once again in 2021, February, where His Excellency said now we cannot continue watching. Through the powers vested in some of the statutory instruments, we're talking of the Road Act 1318, in particular Section 4 and 5 of that particular act, talks about neglected roads being moved to the parent ministry, which is now the Minister of Transport. And then that empowers the Minister of Transport to superintend over those roads for the sake of maintaining roads, not necessarily to take over forever.
But it's strictly for road maintenance.
Road maintenance, rehabilitate and give it back to the local authorities so that they take charge. And this is what we've been doing.
So, Honourable, you're saying the Emergency Road Rehabilitation Program came in 2021.
Yes.
Now it's 2024.
Yes.
Do we have some of the ghettos, some of these locations that actually have received the benefit of your ministry coming through to maintain their roads?
I'm actually happy, Ian, that even if you're watching news yesterday, people were celebrating in the ghettos. And we are saying the plan, if you talk of Chitungwiza, I would get calls day in, day out, where we're linking Makoni and Weza Road over Unyani to Glenora. And those are some of the roads I can actually give you a list of a major program that we embarked on as a ministry. But we are saying those roads, whatever we need to do is, even if we disburse funds to local authorities, they must be accountable and accountable to the citizenry. To say, according to our Supreme Constitution, Section 298, talks of transparency and accountability. So we must account to the people. And the city fathers must account to say whatever was disbursed. And you see recently this week, Zinara, they had to flight how much they've disbursed in the first quarter, so that people will take to account whatever they were given and how they were actually allocating. But I can give you, we've got a program now through Zinara that in terms of the locations, we need to make sure that we capacitate even local authorities by giving plant and equipment, and also avail diesel so that they do maintenance grading of some of the roads that we're talking about. Some of us, we grew up in the ghettos as well, and would use to play in those roads, and they were still trafficable and navigable. But alas, now
it's a different story altogether.
So this is the program that we have now. So it is from great cities to the locations.
So is there a target, maybe in terms of timelines, to say we are targeting Harare locations, or targeting Blaui locations from now till we get to the end of the year, or whatever time frames, or you're just working as it comes? What is the strategy you're using to engage or to get into these local locations?
Thank you so much, Ian. You have raised a very pertinent question. What we need to remember and take cognizance is the fact that we've got the triangles that I talked about. You'll talk of the Bay Bridge, Harare, Harare Chirund Road. You talk of Harare Forbes, Harare Nyamapanda. Those are our gateways. So the strategy was then to attend to those major roads, to say we need connectivity with our neighbors. And we started on those major trunk roads, which we are now seized with.
That was the primary focus.
Yes, our primary focus. And then to descend on cities. And now you can see the amount of work that is happening in Great Harare. People are saying SADC, but SADC will come and go. And we would have the infrastructure. Now we even have roads that were used as detours. And as we speak, we've opened close to 20 kilometers of such roads that are not even leading to the new city. So the idea behind is all those roads that are in a sorry state. Some we are reclaiming, some we are just doing asphalt overlay, and others are also querying to say, now we are doing asphalt overlay on a good road. But we need to continue maintaining those roads that are still in sound position. So at the end of the day, again to the people of Zimbabwe to say, at times they ask, why are you reclaiming a road? Why are you attending to a good road? But we also need to maintain our roads. And I'm happy again, we now have the maintenance units back to make sure that we take charge of our roads.
We are going to get to the SADC part of how everything is going on, but let's talk about recently in Parliament, honourable members were raising queries in terms of some of the job being done by these contractors. For example, Lorraine Drive, the honourable members were complaining to say, already you can see that some of the road is already desurfaced. It doesn't look like it was rehabilitated recently. what exactly is happening in terms of the quality of the contractors you're giving these jobs? Why are we seeing some of the roads already maybe showing like they were rehabilitated 10, 20 years ago?
A good question again, Ian. And I also attended to that particular question in the August House. And my good example was even a seasoned doctor can actually forget some very important during a procedure.
Right.
And it goes wrong. But I'm not saying we must condone such practice. I even said the same contractor has been attended to a number of roads across the country. And we were not going to pay until we were satisfied as the Minister of Transport. And precisely this is what we're doing. We've got our resident engineers. If they don't certify your job, you will not pay. And in particular, that road, it was used as a detour. So we then said the amount of traffic that was navigating through that road was not intended for that particular road. In terms of the heavyweight,
right.
where now they had to use it as a diversionary route. So at the end of the day, it could not accommodate. So this is something that was not factored in by the contractor. And we had to summon the contractor so that he took corrective measures. And we said, now, since you are working on the Nemakonde, which is the Loma Gandhi, when you are done, when you open traffic to that particular section, you then need to move back
and
to
do
Lorraine
the
Drive.
corrections.
Yes, and do corrections. And once again, to the people of Zimbabwe, the Second Republic doesn't pay shoddy works.
So
And I need to reiterate that.
Honourable, are you then with your ministry and your team, are you doing due diligence to all the roads across Zimbabwe? Yes, you've given an example of Lorraine Drive because maybe that's where the Honourables drive every day on their way to Parliament. But there are also other roads in Zimbabwe where rehabilitation is taking place. Is that same process happening where you go and inspect and say, this work has been done, now we're going to pay?
Normally, Ian, for some of us, we are in the field, which is contrary to those who were in offices and during the First Republic, where you just micromanage from your office.
Right.
But now we need to be on the ground to make sure and physically check. And I do that precisely.
Would
but
you
I've
describe
got
yourself as a man who's always on the ground?
You know, I don't want to mark my own book, but I'm saying I actually advocate for such good practice. I'm borrowing it from our great leader, His Excellency Comrade Dr. Emerson Mnangagwa. He's everywhere. And we are saying we have got a schedule in the ministry, starting from the ministry and the deputy minister and the PS, that we allocate ourselves duties to go and monitor the works that we are doing. And above all, we've got our engineers, resident engineers, who are actually stationed on that particular section. So we've got provincial road engineers as well. So everyone must account for his actions, what you have done day from in the morning until end of day. And we've even gone beyond to say we now have a culture of working 24/7. So you see, even some of the contractors were advocating to say there is no holiday. When you start a project, you must finish and finish on time. So as a ministry, this is the work ethic that we have adopted. And we are saying we'll continue in that trajectory to make sure that we are accountable to the people of Zimbabwe.
Honourable, we are going to come back more to the roads, but now let's shift our focus to airports. Let's understand in terms of the airports. I know you've done so much in terms of the Robert Mugabe International Airport. Where are we in terms of the work being done? Yes, we saw the extension. Is there any more that is being done currently?
Thank you so much, Ian. And like I indicated that I love my job.
Right.
And when you talk of connectivity, when you talk of the Minister of Transport, we superintend over the skies. And in particular, we also make sure that we've got robust, vibrant infrastructure in terms of airports. And we are no longer focusing on Robert Gabriel Mugabe International Airport. As we speak, Ian, we now have New City, the Charles Prince, where we are saying we also need to move in that direction. We have got the New City in Mount Depton area, and our runway at RGM International Airport. We want to make sure that we've got 2 or 3 runways. So we have earmarked that particular project at Charles Prince. So you'll see us shortly, and I'm happy that next week you'll see the president of China Exim Bank coming into the country. We are actually negotiating so that we start tapping into concessionary facilities in terms of expansion of our projects. And we are not only ending there, we also have a new airport that we are pursuing in Mutasa, which is Manicaland. The idea behind is to connect domestic resort centers within the country and to make Zimbabwe a hub.
It sounds like a beautiful book you're reading to us, Honourable, in terms of describing this decentralization. Is it possible? Is it realistic that we get to have these airports in Manicaland and in other provinces, like you're saying?
You know what, Ian? I always like to give very pragmatic responses. Even if you would go biblical, when the Israelites were moving from Egypt, when they were in the wilderness, they started complaining to say, now we used to eat meat, now we are getting manna. And alas, they were actually contemplating having a diet, but they were forgetting that where they were coming from and the way they were treated, now they were enjoying. So to the people of Zimbabwe, they are still seized. They are still in the old era, but they are seeing things happening. And this is how we must progress as a nation. That at the end of the day, whatever we do, if we don't believe in ourselves, who else is going to do it? And we are giving you this, which we now have as a ministry, to say we are moving in this trajectory. The idea behind, you need connectivity, and the ministry that superintends over that connectivity in terms of infrastructure is the Ministry of Transport, and we must do it.
So you as the leader of the ministry, are you the Moses to take Zimbabwe to Israel?
What a good question, Ian. To us, I alluded to the fact that we have got our visionary leader, we've got our Moses, and our Moses is Comrade Dr. Emerson Mnangagwa. We are just subordinates, and we are following in his vision. We are actualizing his vision.
He says that is going to make sure Zimbabweans will realize Canaan in terms of roads and all the development that is happening. We are going to take a short break. When we come back, we zero in on some of the major projects that his ministry has started. So don't go anywhere, stay with us. Thank you so much for staying with us. The program is Face the Nation, and tonight the man facing the nation is none other than the Minister of Transport and Infrastructure Development, that is Minister Mhona, explaining to us the work they are doing in their ministry, what are their targets. There's also some of the projects that we've seen the government doing, and he has to explain to us. Now, Honourable, let's talk about some of the bigger projects that your ministry embarked on. The Mbudzi interchange, where are we?
Thank you so much, Ian. And again, it gives me an opportunity to explain to the people of Zimbabwe. Remember, that was a chaotic roundabout before.
Right.
But now people still, maybe they have that same mentality that we are talking of an old roundabout. But we are talking of an interchange that is going to compete, regionally and internationally. And we are talking of 15 bridges on that particular interchange, where we've got 13 on the actual site and 2 are off-site bridges. Right. By off-site, I mean the one is linking our Masosha Ndlovu and where Houghton Park at the roundabout. There was a missing link of Harare Drive.
Right.
So we are now having that road and we're having a bridge. And we also have another bridge at Amalinda, which will then take you to Glenora and off from Masvingo Road. This is another bridge. And when we talk of the bridges, they are amazing, Ian. You'll even have some that we're doing civil works as far as 11 meters deep constructing. And we are not just talking of construction, but we're talking of concrete using cement up. And for someone then who is not visiting that place, you might not believe. And I'm glad that one of the days I had to take the 4th estate, and I made sure that they will visit each single bridge. And I did that deliberately, so that at the end of the day, I said we're not going to be having questions prior. Let's do a tour and then have questions thereafter. And there were some were saying, no, this is not going to materialize in terms of the project. But as we speak, we're on 63%. And we've done a lot of civil works. And there are off-site works that are happening. By off-site, we are talking of concrete beams. We're talking of concrete beams that are being fabricated elsewhere. And each beam, we are talking of 22 to 27 meters long.
That becomes so technical for an ordinary person wants to understand. You said 63% completed so far.
Yes.
How long do you need to finish off the remaining 37%?
The remaining 37, now we don't have much, Ian, because what was quite of paramount importance was to make sure that we lay a solid foundation of the interchange. And we are out of that predicament where we're managing diverting water channels under. There is a river that passes through, and we are done with that part. And now the 37% is now the beams that I'm talking about, the civil works, and they just making sure that we connect the bridges. And we are saying This is what we are seized with now. And unfortunately, we had a delay because of the compensation matrix that was happening, where some properties were in terms of compensation, and you know even the case that is sub judice, which is before the courts as we speak, where others were not properly compensated. And this is what delayed the project. But the completion date was supposed to be July. And we are saying we'll just add a few weeks. But I've said to the contractor, I want that by the 31st of July, so that when we visit there, we'll see significant progress and completed, in the sense that we're having all the connections that I'm talking about. So the contractor has assured me that coming June, he'll start moving the prefabricated beams that I'm talking about. So you'll now start seeing a structure. But as it is now, maybe you'll be seeing columns, and you might not understand how it is going to be synchronized at the end of the day. But I want to assure you that this is going to change the terrain of our traffic management in the country.
So are you saying by December, Zimbabweans will be driving through the interchange?
Definitely, Ian. And December is too far away from what I'm actually giving you now.
Honourable, today is the 22nd of May. We'll be able to come back and face the nation in December and say, we said
much
this.
Earlier, Ian, much earlier. Much earlier than December.
There you have it. The man promised that if it doesn't happen, you'll come back and face the nation again, saying why exactly the project is not yet completed. But we hope, obviously, like you said, that it will be completed. You raised an important issue in terms of compensation for those who are obviously residing close to the area that you're working towards. You are also working towards the Westgate area, going to the parliament. There are houses along the way. What's going to happen? There are a lot of conspiracy theories. Some are saying you will stay there, you'll be compensated, you'll be moved. What exactly is the plan regarding those residents?
Once again, thanks, Ian. And you see, if you talk of the Nemakonde, that is the Lomagandi.
Right.
We used to have castles and other illegal structures that were mushrooming along that road. But I'm happy that the city fathers had to correct that situation. And now you would marvel driving along that road when it's completed, because there are no illegal structures. And we then had to issue an SI to say, if you build within a 60-meter radius from the center of the road, we are going to demolish. And we are warning the people. But those who are residing, we had to actually factor in and accommodate them. Where they were actually closer to the road, we're just widening the road. So we're not going to affect in terms of residential areas along that road.
Right.
Yes. So they must, residential areas are safe, but we are saying this is a 4-way road that we are, and in a few weeks we'll be opening part of the section as we gravitate towards roundabout, which is the Westgate roundabout. But I want to assure the citizen that those who are legally settled are not going to be affected.
Honourable, some reports via social media have been saying that other projects have been stopped because you want to focus on these roads for the SADC summit, of course, coming up in August. How far true is that? Are you neglecting all other, or should I say, have you temporarily stopped working on other roads so that you focus on achieving the target for you to have roads functional before August?
Once again, thanks, Ian. But also coming closer home, even traditionally, culturally, if you have got visitors, you're prone to even clean the house more than what you do on a daily basis. And this is us as Africans. But we are not ceasing attending to other roads. As we speak, there are works happening across the country, road rehabilitation programs. But we are saying there is a trigger effect. There is a program which we must commend again and be happy as Zimbabweans to say we are hosting this magnificent program of hosting SADC heads of state. And to us, it will come and go, but our infrastructure will remain.
Right.
So at the end of the day, we are saying this is what we have in terms of infrastructure on our program. Yes, we've accelerated because we are working against targets, set targets. But soon after that, we'll still need to continue with our work, but we are not abandoning the projects that we started.
Do you feel that you achieved the target? Maybe by August, do you feel that these roads will be beautiful as you imagine?
I like challenging scenarios, Ian. And I want to assure the people of Zimbabwe that come, yes, SADC, they'll be driving on those new roads. And if we believe, we will achieve.
Honourable, you speak with aura that gives out confidence, belief in what you do. Maybe if you were to rate the work you have done with the ministry out of 10, how much would you give yourself?
It's easier, Ian, because what we are doing is just implementing, but we've got a visionary leader. So in terms of infrastructure development, we give ourselves an 8.
That's
because
80%.
we are saying we are just making sure that we implement what has been set by the great leader, Comrade Dr. Emmerson Mnangagwa. And he has done extremely well under very difficult circumstances. As you know, as a country, we are under illegal sanctions, which we are calling upon their complete removal. And if in other jurisdictions, you will see that infrastructure development is not housed under the fiscal space. You get concessionary funding. It could be IMF, it could be World Bank. What you just need to do is to acquit and give them a program to say, to do 200 kilometers. When you're done, you go and get money. But we are using our domestic resources. We are using our people, which is something that must be commended.
Interestingly, when you talk of maintaining those roads, people were shocked when they woke up and they saw Julius Nyerere closed. Why did you decide to start at Julius Nyerere? Was it in a bad state? Was it the worst road we could have started with? What exactly was the reasoning behind starting with Julius Nyerere as you go towards Mount Upton?
Thank you so much, Ian. But you remember my biblical example that I gave you.
Right.
That when people were out of Egypt, when they were in the wilderness, they started complaining about food.
Right.
And started complaining about water. And you talked of when we measure our roads, the Chinese zero is at the main post office.
Right.
So we started Julius Nyerere. We are doing Harare Chirundu Road. So the contractor who is doing the first section, we've given 5 contractors that road to Chirundu. He had to start from Chinese zero. Chinese zero is Julius Nyerere at the post office.
Right.
And the way we're rehabilitating that road, we had also to understand that the type of the volume that is going to traverse on that road, is it going to be accommodated given the status quo of the road? And then the engineers had to say, no, the road is weaker. And remember, there is Mukuvisi flowing beneath the road. So we had to reclaim again the road. And people were complaining, say, why are you reclaiming? Because there was no way we were actually going to do asphalt overlay on that particular road because it was going to collapse. Look at what has happened on Lorraine Drive.
Right.
So we had to reconstruct, and we are talking of that road being 3 times stronger than any other road that you can think of, which is a new model. And we started on that particular section, which we have now opened to traffic. And we are now moving. So it comes back to the issue of ascertaining the pressure and the amount that the road can accommodate, and then we are advised accordingly.
So talking of the Harare Chirundu Highway, what are the time frames? I know you've got the urgent pressing issue, like you say, visitors are coming. Yes, the focus is there, but Harare Chirundu Highway, how long do you expect for that road to be completed? The
goodness of the Harare Chirundu, Ian, is that we've already started at Julius. It's part of the Harare Chirundu. And as we move towards Westgate, we're talking of 12.5, 13 kilometers to the roundabout, which is Westgate. And this is part of Harare Chirundu. And if you remember where we got a grant from our good friends in terms of support, the Japani team were doing the Hell's Gate section, which is Marongora towards Chirundu, which now they did the first 6. We are now doing the first, we now got a grant to do the other 7 kilometers. So this is adding up to the same road. And now, as we speak, contractors are stationed on particular sections where we're to split, we can round it to 68 kilometers per contractor of the 5 contractors.
Right.
So as soon as we move from these burning SADC roads that we are talking about, then we'll deploy fully on the Harare Chirundu. And the good news again to the people of Zimbabwe, where the social media was awash with Matebeleland region. We are talking of Bay Bridge, Vic Falls, Bay Bridge, Blawayo, Vic Falls. And we had bitumen, which a company that was attending to the most damaged sections. But we said the entire road, which is now, it was built around the 1960s,
right,
is now weak. And we now need to reclaim the entire road in the same manner that we are doing the Bay Bridge. So now, this week, we are finalizing on a triple P arrangement, where we have now ascertained 5 or so companies who have expressed interest, and we'll do the adjudication, so that we get companies that are going to work on the entire stretch, which is close to 750, 760 kilometers.
That's a plan that you're explaining. But unfortunately, our time is nearly up, Honourable. We might have wanted to really went on. But before I let you go, the Botelekwa Road.
Yes.
It's in a sorry state. I mean, people are getting married time and again. What's the plan? What's happening?
I want to invite you in 2 weeks' time.
Right.
Where we've started on the Shurugi Mandamabwe Road. Is the road, same road that comes to Botelekwa. As we speak, we were there 2 months ago where we did the groundbreaking, and we've opened Dito. We are managing 43 kilometers up to Shurugi, and we are passing through Chachacha. So at the end of it, then we would move towards the Botelekwa, which is about 6-7 kilometer stretch. And we have got a contractor on that particular section. So as we are rehabilitating the Mandama-Bushurugi Road, you will see us descending on the bottom. Yes. Yeah.
Honourable, thank you so much for coming through to Face the Nation. We truly appreciate it. I love the way you put, you know your distances, you know the time frames. 2 weeks, I'll be coming. If it doesn't happen, we'll bring you back again to Face the Nation.
Thank you
that
so
was
much.
our guest tonight. That is Honourable Felix Mhona, the Minister of Transport and Infrastructure Development, explaining to us what is being done in as far as the maintenance of the roads, the airports is concerned in Zimbabwe. Wow, quite an interesting discussion. But until next time, my name is Mhona. Stay tuned to ZBC TV.